Hi, everyone. This is Subhadra from Colombia. Thank you for joining once again a live session of Ashram Talks in this journey through the Bhagavad Gita. Last class, we were discussing about the meaning of yoga from the perspective of action and also why we should live our own purposes and not someone else's life. Now, today is a very specious day here in Colombia. It's the celebration of the spiritual master, which is also called Guru Purnima. According to the Vedic calendar, it could be a day after or day before. In Colombia, it happens to be today, and I think it's befitting of our discussion today. We're joined by Madhuvrata from Sussex, England, and he's going to guide us through verses 6 to 8 of the Bhagavad Gita with a topic that has been named Manifest Your Inner Guide. Welcome, Madhuvrata. Thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Subhadra. I'm really excited to be here. As you said, it's a very auspicious day today. I think the day in India and the UK is also Guru Purnima. Yeah, we're going to be discussing a little bit about that. And as the title suggests, we're going to be talking about how that inner guidance, which we all have, can manifest externally in our lives, and how that has manifested for Arjuna. So it's very interesting verses today, and whenever you're ready, I'll dive right in.
Of course, yes, the stage is all yours. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you very much. So before we start, I'll just do a quick Sanskrit invocation for my spiritual master. His name is Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namoram Vishnu Padaya Radhikaye Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Iti Namine. So, yeah, welcome everybody to another edition of Ashram Talks. As Subhadra Didi said, today is Guru Purnima, which is a astrological event in the moon calendar, because in the Vedic system they use the lunar calendar. Also, I think in China they focus on celebrations for or all in the lunar calendar. So Purnima means full moon. So today's full moon, and it's the full moon of Guru. So Guru meaning teacher. So that person, Gu and Ru, the two Sanskrit syllables. Gu means darkness, and Ru means light. So that personality who brings light into the darkness, he or she are known as Guru. So today we're going to be discussing a little bit about Guru Tattva, which means the sort of philosophy behind the principle of Guru and disciple, from the perspective of Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, because as we'll hear, Arjuna now, he accepts Krishna as his spiritual guide and teacher and guru in Sanskrit. So we're going to be looking at how a spiritual teacher may come into our life, and a little bit on how to recognize that personality. We're going to look at what qualities within us we can cultivate in order to, if you like, attract a teacher, or the qualities needed to become like in that sort of disciple role. And also we're going to discuss a little bit from the Vedic perspective about how our inner guidance can manifest in the world if we so desire that. So these three verses, 2.6, 2.7, and 2.8, they're very important. So they're also going to, verse 7 and 8 are also going to be discussed in our next two classes. Verse 7, and then the one after that, verse 8, and then. But I'm giving kind of an overview from my perspective. So then, if we could have, we'll look at verse 2.6, and we'll dive right in there. So for those who have been following the previous episodes, and just as an aside, if you haven't listened to the previous episode with Simon Haas or Sundagopal, it's a really, really good episode. It's talking about how we should follow our own nature and dharma rather than trying to sort of force fit ourselves into somebody else's dharma. So it's really good, and it's loads of really practical advice. And personally, I got so much out of listening to that. Really, really good. So I'd recommend you go back if you haven't listened to that. And then, so today's subject is somewhat different. Following on, it's the subject of Arjuna accepting guidance. So he says here in chapter 2, verse number 6, I'm not going to attempt the Sanskrit today. He said, Arjuna is saying, so just for those who maybe haven't just picked on this episode on YouTube, the situation is Arjuna is on the battlefield between his own army and the opposing army, and he is on the chariot of Krishna, and he's having a major kind of meltdown dilemma in the fact that he doesn't want to engage as Krishna is advising him to engage in his own kind of nature and dharma. So in a way, this is it. The battlefield is kind of like symbolic of our lives. Also, we find ourselves in this present field of now, and sometimes we can also feel like confused as to what we should do and what we shouldn't do. So we can look at it in that way also, as well as literally. So in this verse, Arjuna is saying, in the midst of the armies, he's saying to Krishna, nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. The sons of Dhritarashtra, whom if we killed we should not care to live, are now standing before us on this battlefield. So therefore Arjuna, he's kind of reaching the limit of his own, if you like, independent reasoning and logic. He's gone through so many things that he's been taught from different scriptures and by different teachers, and his mind and his intelligence have become completely like confused, and his discrimination is lost. So therefore he doesn't know. He's in the field of action, and he does not know what is good, what is bad, what should be done, what should not be done. And this verse, he's almost reached the very sort of end of his own, if you like, reasoning power. And now he's understanding that he needs help from somewhere else, some higher guidance. So yeah, in this next verse, we'll jump onto the next verse because it's a really interesting verse. So Arjuna is asking for help, and this is a very important first step. So in text 7, he's saying, Arjuna is saying, now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So you can see straight away that this is a very significant verse, because now Arjuna's paradigm has shifted, and he's ceased trying to work it out for himself, if you like, and now he's seeking that higher guidance from Krishna, and then this will allow in the rest of the Bhagavad Gita for Krishna to give direct instruction to Arjuna. So interestingly, in this verse, Arjuna's recognizing that he is in a difficult condition, and he's confused about his duty. His composure is gone, and he's identified within himself those weaknesses of not being able to decide where to go, what to do, and this terrible kind of condition of being indecisive and not knowing where to go. So an important point here is that it's good for us within our day-to-day lives to realize when we have, if you like, reached that point. And in some ways, we always need guidance at every step, because the present moment in the material world is a little bit of a dangerous place. We as our Srila Prabhupada said many times, that we don't know what can happen in the next second. Like a friend of ours recently was driving over to see us, and she was just pulled over in her car, waiting to turn right into a lane, and a van hit her from behind at like 50 miles an hour and catapulted her car down the street. And obviously, she hadn't gone out expecting that, but that is the kind of condition within this material world, that anything can happen at any moment. We don't know, and really, we don't know when our own demise will come. Also, we don't know when that will come. Our own death. It could come tomorrow. It could come in 50 years. So this material world, in some ways, it's a very difficult place to navigate, and therefore Arjuna, he's realizing this. He's in the midst of this um, battlefield, and he's having this crisis. And so now it's brought him to the point of speaking to Krishna about this and asking him, "Please help me." So, from our own perspective, from my perspective anyway, sometimes we may be a little embarrassed to ask for help, or feel a little too proud, because generally we're sort of brought up to think that our own powers of reasoning, our own power of independent thinking is what we should depend on, and therefore we don't necessarily look for help or ask for help. We try and sort of keep on, it's like that old adage: if you're doing the same thing and expecting different results, it's the definition of madness. So just to recognize that we need help, and to overcome this kind of pride of not wanting to ask for help, this is a very important first step. So in this verse, then there's this word prachami. So prachami means Arjuna is asking. So he's asking, which also can mean praying. So he's now sincerely asking Krishna for guidance in a state of complete surrender. So this is important. Arjuna is saying, I am asking. Why? Because sometimes we come to that point of realizing that I need help, and therefore from our own, if you like, independence, or from our own volition, we can ask for help, because everyone in this world has their independence. It's said to be the gift of the spirit souls within this world, is we can actually choose to do this or not to do this. So especially with spiritual matters, then this offering of this independence to a wiser personality by our own will, this is very important. Quite often, a teacher or an advanced teacher, they won't give any instruction or guidance to somebody if they're not asking for it, because that means possibly then they're not ready to receive it, and they won't be able to follow it. So Arjuna is offering his independence to Krishna, and he's saying, please guide me, please give me advice. So this heartfelt prayer and longing, this is one way to attract that powerful spiritual teacher into our lives, by this heartfelt longing and prayer and deep meditation, that I need this, this spiritual guidance. In Sanskrit, there's a word that's used quite a lot in Bhakti tradition. It is lobha. So lobha means greed. It translates as greed, and greed sounds like, in English, it sounds like it may be a bad quality. But greed for spiritual advancement and greed for guidance, that's considered to be a good thing. And as my Gurudev explained, there's actually no qualification needed for greed. Gurudev gives the example of a dog who's sitting looking in a sweet shop window, and he's seeing all these lovely sweets and chocolates and rasagullas and all these things, and some saliva is coming from his mouth, because he has greed to taste those things. So from our position, there's not really any qualification needed to have this greed, but if we have this sincere desire, then surely then this guidance will come into our lives. So the first point is this asking or praying. So the second point within the verse, I think the verse is gone, but it's okay. is this word shishya. So shishya means literally disciple. So somebody is the shishya of a particular teacher or a guru. So now Arjuna is considering himself. So you can see in the, where is it? The fourth line, Shishyasteham sadi mam tvam prapanam. So this Shishya, he's now considering himself, he's identifying himself as like disciple of Krishna. So this is also a very important point, that the principle of guru and disciple relationship, it's important for somebody who desires guidance to, in a way, consider that and accept that that would be a good situation for them, and desire to have that within their lives. Because you may talk to somebody about guru and they say, oh, I don't need a guru. I have my own mind. I have Google guru. I have, a gurus on the internet, this, that, and the other, all types of gurus. But this kind of guru-disciple spiritual relationship, if we simply accept that that is something we would like to have within our lives, then there's much more chance of that manifesting. And Arjuna on the battlefield at this point, there are many types of guru actually on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, because opposing him, one of the reasons Arjuna is giving not to fight is his guru of weaponry and martial activity, war, is on the other side, and also Grandsire Bhishma, who he sees as a guru, is also there. So there are many types of wise people on the battlefield. But Arjuna here, he's choosing to become the disciple of Krishna because he understands that Krishna can give that pure spiritual knowledge, not necessarily a material knowledge. So if we are, if you like, shopping for teacher or guru, we should look for the personality who's giving the highest thing, not necessarily somebody who's on the internet saying, I can make you wealthy, so therefore I'm a type of guru. Because this material wealth can come and go within this world, but spiritual guidance, that is the, if you like, the greatest wealth within this world. So then another important word within this verse comes at the end, prapanam. So sisyasteham sadi mam tvam prapanam. So prapanam means to be surrendered, or if you like, surrendered may have some negative connotations, but if we can say like submissive or receptive, like this. So Krishna is putting himself in a position of being surrendered to Krishna. He is saying, now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. And then he's saying, please instruct me. So the teacher, like I was saying earlier, the teacher needs the disciple to be somewhat, if not 100%, surrendered to them, because otherwise the instructions that the teacher is giving won't necessarily be followed by the disciple. So the disciple needs to be submissive. There's a verse later in the Bhagavad Gita, Tad vidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnananis tatvadashana. So it's saying that one of the requirements of the disciple is a submissive inquiry. So we're not going to guru and we're saying, having a debate and saying, I know this, I know that, and trying to defeat them and then accepting their instruction. We're actually accepting instruction from them in a surrendered and submissive mood. So this is something we can cultivate also when we are, say, looking for guidance or desiring guidance. So then the disciple, like in Arjuna's position, once he has surrendered to his teacher, then he will feel like protected by that wisdom that the guru is giving, because the guru has a different perspective to us. We are seeing the world through our five senses and having a very, if you like, limited view or perspective on what's going on. We sort of see, if you like, through some kind of tunnel vision. But somebody who's in a higher spiritual position, they can see, like if you zoom out from the planet And then people look at the planet and they think, wow, I'm so sort of involved in my day to day, going shopping and going to the post office and this and that. But if you zoom out and look at the planet within the universe, so the guru has that kind of vision. He can see like the zoomed out perspective, and therefore can advise us on what to do and what not to do. So these three things, that is asking for help, considering oneself to be the disciple, or in a submissive position, and also to be surrendered. These are very important qualities that we can cultivate within ourselves. And some people have these naturally, like the great teacher Srila Prabhupada. When he went to America, he would look for people who already had these good qualities, such as humility, or maybe non-violence, or like being vegetarian, or not being overly involved in the mode of passion and intoxication and all these things. So puts one in a better sort of foundational position to accept advice. So let's move on to text 8. So, right, it's up there. Arjuna is saying, in conclusion, he's already asked Krishna to be his guru. So now he's saying, I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to destroy it, even if I win an unrivaled kingdom on the earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. So again, he's thinking, that really by his own power, by his own process, he cannot think of a way to overcome this grief. And he says it's completely drying up his senses. So one thing I thought about this is like I said earlier, we have these 5 senses: touch, smell, sight, taste, and sound, and they're our sort of limited window on this world. So if we completely rely on our own sensory input by our limited senses, then very difficult for us to make progress spiritually. So his senses are being completely dried up, and his own Shakti, his own power, has reached its limit, and now he must seek higher guidance from Krishna. So, excuse me, can I have a drink? So how long have we got left? 6 minutes. Okay, so we've got a bit to go. So in Bhagavad Gita, as we've discussed before, is a text from the Vedic canon of literatures, and many of them take this form of a conversation between teacher and disciple. And interestingly enough, today, being Guru Purnima, it's the appearance day of Sri Vyasadeva, who manifested this whole Mahabharata into the world, and also this conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. So these texts, they take this form of a conversation, which shows that spiritual wisdom is like a descending process. So we are like waiting, if you like, for this spiritual knowledge to descend to us. It's said in the Vedas also that there are 2 processes. There is the descending process, where spiritual knowledge comes through what's called guru parampara, or from guru to disciple, like this, and into our lives. This is called the descending process. But then there is also what is known as the ascending process, by which, by my own power and practice, say for instance, I commit to doing Astanga yoga and austerities, and by my own kind of Shakti, then I will achieve spiritual enlightenment, if you like. So 2 processes, but the one that actually works ultimately is this descending process of guru to disciple. So we can see that even in any material profession, if you want to become a brain surgeon, or a pianist, or an architect, or anything, then we need to take guidance. So what to speak of spiritual matters, which are not so easy, actually, and especially in this what's called Kali Yuga, this time we're in at the moment. There's so much distraction, so we're always being pulled externally, and that's just getting worse with the advent of our friend the smartphone. So continuously these things are vying for our attention and pulling our attention outwards, when really the real wealth is inwards, is inner, inside us. So that brings us to our question, how to manifest that inner guidance in our lives. So this is not just a clickbait title. This is actually mentioned also in the Vedic scriptures. So as we've heard before, I think Chandramukhi, she explained that within this physical body, it's explained that it's like a tree. It's given the example of being like a tree. And within that tree, there are two birds. There is the one bird is the individual enjoying soul, that is us, spirit soul. But then also within the body is known who is known as Paramatma. So that is an expansion of an expansion of an expansion of Bhagavan, of Krishna, of God, if you like. So he is, or he is residing within the hearts of all living entities, but like as a witness. So he doesn't get involved necessarily. He's seeing the activities of the enjoying soul and awarding according to our activities. So this personality, this Paramatma, one is called Atma, that is the individual soul, and Paramatma, that is the supreme soul. He's also known as Chaitya Guru. So Chaitya Guru means that guru who is like a witness. Chaitya means witness. So when we have that paradigm shift, if you like, of the things we were talking earlier, of becoming interested and desirous of spiritual knowledge, and adopt this much more sort of surrendered and submissive mood, and consider ourselves to potentially be like a disciple, if I would like that within my life, then that Chaitya Guru, the witness within the heart, manifests externally. So this is the magic of it. He manifests in the external world in the form of pure devotee or guru. So we should understand this is the highest type of guru. This is not like just a regular kind of what's the word? I forget, but this is the highest type of guru. So he will be, by Krishna's desire, by Paramatma's desire, he will manifest within the external world, and then he is there within our kind of material life, and we can receive instruction directly from him and also offer service to him. So it's said that by the mercy of Krishna, one can find guru, and then by the mercy of guru, one attains Krishna or love of Krishna. Ultimately, that is Krishna Prem. So that is the secret of how this inner guide, who is always there. The thing is with Paramatma, even though he is always there and he is advising to some extent, it's very difficult for most people to hear the instructions of Paramatma, because there's so much going on in there. There's the mind, there's the intelligence, there's all this other kind of soup, if you like, of consciousness that's going around, and speaking for myself anyway, in most people's heads. So somebody has to have be pure of heart to take instruction directly from Paramatma. So that is why he manifests externally within this material world. So then, until that personality manifests, if we are desirous of that, then we should pray for that very sincerely, with heartfelt prayer and meditation. We can also use mantra, like chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It's known as the most powerful mantra, which can attract the highest type of guidance to us. So we should desire, and we should also continue to read these sacred texts, such as the Bhagavad Gita, because in my own personal experience, it was through reading Bhagavad Gita, and then I was reading the purports in Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. And I was reading the purports, and in every one I was seeing how he's saying that we should accept Guru, we should accept higher guidance. But at that time I didn't have anybody or to give me that. I only had the Bhagavad Gita. and Prabhupada's words. So at that time, I remember thinking, well, I would like to have a guru like you. And until such time, these words on the page, I'm going to consider them to be my teacher. So it's very powerful actually to read read and study and deeply meditate on these texts such as Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and these things, and then automatically I can say then guidance will come into our lives, because it's come into my life, it's come into the life of my partner Sarveshwari, and so many people that I know have gone through this same kind of process and then being guided to their ultimate guide and guru. And just one last point. So Arjuna's dark night here, as discussed by Simon, his dark night of the soul is coming to an end when he starts to take instruction from Krishna. And in the same way, it's explained that when Guru, pure devotee, manifests within our lives, then we should understand that our period in samsara, so samsara being the sort of cycle of birth and death, which we'll discuss later in the Gita, that as soon as that personality manifests, we should understand that samsara for us is coming to an end. Because we may have short dark nights of the soul, but we've been having a very long one, being born and reborn within the material world in different types of species. So the only really, as explained in the Vedas, way to come out from that is not by our own intelligence and effort. That is by the descending process of accepting guidance from Guru. So I'm very happy to be able to speak about this on Guru Purnima. I didn't even realize it was Guru Purnima until yesterday, and I'd already prepared all this class. And then my wife pointed it out, and I thought, oh, wow, that's completely appropriate. So I'm going to conclude my class there. I hope it was of some use for somebody. And if there's any questions, Subhadra, then go ahead.
Thank you so much. Well, we
Thank
don't
you.
have any questions in the comments, but well, I think your words personally gave me provided me important insights on this topic of inner guidance, because we may actually think of the ascending process when we hear this inner guidance word, like, okay, that inner guidance, I think it means it's happened to me. I think it
Mm.
means like with my own knowledge, with my inner strength, or what
Mm.
I think is my inner guidance, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go forward, and I don't need the help of others. I don't need to follow a spiritual teacher. Yeah, I don't need any kind of external guidance.
Mm.
But what I understood from what you said is that it actually begins when you realize that you need guidance at every step of the path.
Mm.
Like when
Absolutely.
you give away your independence, as you said, like Arjuna at that point gave away his independence, and then
Mm.
that's how his inner guidance actually manifested. Is that right?
Yes. So when he offered his independence to Krishna and then said, "I am a soul surrendered unto you, and I am now your disciple," then that allowed Krishna to come in and give his advice. And so in the next verses we'll hear the advice of Krishna. And I think it's maybe one or two verses time, it says that Krishna is smiling a little bit at Arjuna, at his situation. Not that he thinks Arjuna is foolish, but then he's thinking, well, you've gone on this whole sort of this whole kind of trip around what you can do and what you can't do, but now you've realized that I'm here and everything is going to be okay. So yeah, that first step is that surrender and asking for help, like in anything. If somebody has addiction to drugs or anything, the first step is to realize that actually I do need help and find that help. But we may as well, if we're looking for help and praying for help, we may as well pray for the highest type of help. It's like if some extremely wealthy person, Elon Musk, manifested and said, "What do you want from me? I'll give you anything." And you just said, "Oh, just give me sort of the taxi fare to come and see you and back again." You wouldn't, would you? You'd say, "Okay, well, give me £10 billion. So in the same way, if we're praying for guidance, we should pray for that highest type of guidance. And the Bhagavad Gita explains what that highest type of guidance is, and the highest type of aspiration, if you like, for humanity.
Thank you so much for sharing your
Thank you.
realizations on
Thank
this,
you.
Madhuvrata. And well, we have a comment by Sienna, who always follows our episodes. She's grateful and she feels it was really helpful for
Thank you,
her.
Sienna.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
To you and to all our audience, I hope to see you soon in the next episode. Thank you for being here today.
Okay. Thank you, Subhadra. Hare Krishna.
So, for all our followers, don't forget to follow us on Instagram for more content. And if you have any questions, remember you can always drop them on the comment section or DM us because our speakers will be more than happy to clear your doubts. You can watch this episode again on our YouTube channel, Ashram Talks English, and catch up all of our past episodes as well. So feel free to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get updates. Thank you so much, everyone, and see you in the next episode of Ashram Talks. Have a great week.